Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Well, good morning. Got all sorts of interesting things going on today. But first, let's go grab the links. We're gonna have to enable the player, and let's grab video links. I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna copy.
More trading opportunity.
Yeah. More trading opportunities, guys. Aren't you excited? Okay, there's YouTube. And here is the Twitch. Okay. Well, yesterday was an interesting day. We, of course, let's do it in Zen. That's a little bit more clear what happened. Okay, so we had this big move down yesterday, and then it kind of stalled out and came back up. I was actually making a trade to go long down here, and it did eventually kind of come back up, but it was like way slow. We can look at the E-mini. E-mini did kind of go a little bit higher there, but then, oh wait, it was over here. Actually did go up. They eventually broke out and busted me out. So it was a head and shoulders, but it fell. I'd take that back because it never broke the neck. So when it was a true head and shoulders pattern that never confirmed. So that's what happened yesterday. But then at the end of the day, they came out and said maybe we're gonna give China a break while we're negotiating. And so Treasuries took another big dip, and now overnight they're even lower. Although it kind of sounds like we have distributed around this 11 here. The selling may be done. We might be able to move up a little bit. So that's what's going on. I'm also interested to see how equities close today. I mean, are they going to end the week strong? That would be super positive. Got to be on our toes because I think there's going to be a lot of big traders looking to goof us up today. So be on the lookout for that. And I think we can talk about the other big news was there's a report out from BuzzFeed claiming that Donald Trump instructed Cohen to lie about Trump Tower. I don't think that this story is going to be quite what people think it is, but I think we're going to wait until people are on or we have a break in the action to talk about that. Do we have any news today? We've got a bunch of Canadian news. An FOMC member, Williams, is speaking. Well, there's a decent iceberg at 12.5. I think you might see them fade that, though. We'll see. Now, let's close this. Oh, that's weird. There we go. Okay. Good deal. Yeah, so something that really irks me is that after January 31st, the ability to auto-share YouTube actions on Twitter and Google Plus will no longer be available. So I guess it's like Google Plus isn't going to be around anymore. We might as well, just get rid of the features so that we don't we don't help Twitter. I mean, why get rid of it? Because it automatically goes out there on Twitter and tells people when I'm going up. Well, we'll see what happens. More comments on my Gillette ad video. All right, well, they ticked up there at 13. Not incredibly strong bid, but they're ticking back and forth, so somebody probably is accumulating. See, as soon as he puts an offer there, they eat it back up really easily. But then they're completely willing to sell. Huh? See? I'm only taking this one because to me it seems like a risk-free thing. Like if I decide that I don't like it, I'm likely to be able to look back at it at 13.
The Canadian CPI read. A quick recap on the estimates. Month on month, we're looking for a reading of -0.4% year on year. Look for a reading of 1.7%. We'll then do the core month on month and year on year, and then move on to the median, trim, and common print. Looking at pricing, BOC rate hike pricing ahead of this CPI read. A March hike is priced around about 6% at the moment for a hike this year, still very low. Chances of rates at 2% by October are about 24.7%, and implied rates don't see a hike at all in 2019.
That's going to be funny if that second lot at 13 does not get filled. I'm going to laugh.
Geopolitics, US Secretary of State Pompeo to meet with North Korea's Kim Yong-chol on Friday. That's today.
Ah. Took it. Okay. Notice not a whole lot has sold into 12.5 yet.
Data.
They're not pulling because the Canadian data is not. Usually doesn't move us, but we shall see. Maybe making a big mistake here. Ooh, yeah, okay, see, so that changes things. Why stack 500 there? Hmm.
Ten seconds.
Don't want to mess with it. In fact, I might want to reverse.
It's month on month minus 0.1%, year on year 2%, core month on month minus 0.2%, core year on year 1.7%. Median coming in 1.8%, prior revised 1.8%, trim 1.9%, common 1.9%. Canadian international security transactions for November 9.45 billion inflow, prior revised 3.97 billion. So to recap the headline numbers for Canadian CPI month on month, coming in at -0.1%, stronger than the estimated read of -0.4%, year on year coming in far stronger as well at 2% versus estimates of 1.7%.
Just in case. So I wonder. That was weird. It was a big stack. I would say it's significant, but the orders are not necessarily reacting to it, are they? Market orders are not necessarily reacting to it. And we haven't seen any really big lots come through either. Oh, we can do it here. Okay. So it's they're throttling a little bit. So they'll pull 1,000 off and then put 1,000 back on. And they're adjusting it to see if they can trigger people to send orders. Ticked up. Not the first time it's ticked up at 13. 2,000 on the bid. That's encouraging for upside. 13.5 bulls. And the 13 is... Okay, so 12.5 is stacking pretty good now. It's got like 6K on it. Well, we could go up to at least 14.5. The 13 is stacking up the same now. I have to say that's probably not going to happen. I'm just a little wary about this because that should be causing more movement than it is. There's the E-minis kind of doing something. Just ticking around a bit more. Super slow. I don't know. I think this might come back. I could be wrong, but... Could be wrong, but I feel like something weird is going on. Now that there was 2,500 goes into 13, half the 13 is getting weak. And then they throttle it again. So, very manipulative behavior in the level 2. Which, frankly, you would expect for a Friday. Well, not you would, but I think you should, because they sure like to mess with you on Friday. That probably means that they're going to create some huge trend up, though. That would be the thing I'm least expecting. Coming into the day as a huge trend up. I'm trying to I don't know. I feel like super focused right now for some reason, even though I'm not so sure that this action that we're seeing right now is really like a super great opportunity, you know? We're kind of doing a slow trend up, and it's something that I feel like could just flip on its head really easily. And because the upside becomes so uncertain, especially past 14.5, there's probably not really a trade for me here. This is probably an area that I just need to stay out of unless there's like a real flip in the momentum and I can get a tick or two out of it. And so yeah. And yet I still feel really super focused on what it's doing. So much so that it's hard for me to even fill in the space. It's like, what do you say? I'm looking at it really hard, guys. Really hard. You see that 1440 into 14? That means nothing. It means it's totally normal for 1400 contracts to go into 14. It means nothing. And yet I'm laser focused. Laser focused on how much buying is going into 14. Hey, Eric Cages, how's it going? I just don't. I don't know, guys. I think that at the very least, that they might touch 14.5 and turn around. Like we may have a slow uptrend. I would be let's not say surprised. I need to come up with better words. But I would be really caught off guard if they went past 14.5. Like if they just blew through that and went to 16. I would be like, what? What? That's crazy. You notice though here the 30-year is not really going. And the 30-year actually has some liquidity stacked above it. And the 5-year has the liquidity a little bit below us, but not a ton. I think that could be, I mean, that's a clue about which way they're spreading. Where are they, by the way? Well, the way that the spread is working, I think that they probably want to revert a little bit of yesterday's move. So that would make sense that they're going to buy ZF and sell ZN. Or sorry, the ZB. I haven't been online for a while. Has anyone asked about my jig? Oh, that's right. Because weren't you the one that was potentially offering a Jigsaw account, like selling it? I don't recall. I haven't really seen too many people coming in
US
about
equities keep an eye
asking
on
about Jigsaw
Netflix.
lately.
They of course reported after the bell yesterday. Mixed numbers, beat on subscriber growth, but missed on EPS revs. But a whole host of brokers this morning upping their price target. We have retweeted a link to the specifics. Shares currently down about 2%.
Something interesting about Jigsaw, because I really feel like it's the best DOM, and people have shown me theirs, and I just, even just aesthetically, I think it's definitely the most pleasing looking DOM. But it's got some really good features, and it's just a really great platform. And the oops, I don't want to do it like that. I need it to be auto. Okay. The developer is just amazing. So I really think that Jigsaw is the best platform. Aside from maybe TT, if you can afford for the professional versions. There we go. Okay. They didn't even touch 14.5. Anyways, and yet in chat, I'm not seeing, like, when you look at the broker channel, because we have a broker channel. You don't hear too much about it. But that kind of is always an indicator to me that there's a little bit of edge there. So you have a tool that's better than the majority of people. Because I guess the kind of person that wants going to use Jigsaw is going to be a scalper. And a lot of people don't want to scalp, or the people that are getting into scalping don't want to spend the money on it, I guess. That's why my offer is too good to pass up. Well, you can go back into the what's the name of the channel again? Platforms and Brokers, and you can post it again.
Associated Press reporting the House Intelligence Committee chairman plans to investigate the report that Trump directed his attorney Michael Cohen to lie to Congress about negotiations over Moscow real estate project in 2016. Won't bang on too much about this, but just worth bearing in mind.
Yeah. Nothing's buying into 13.5 at all. Look at that. I'm at 13.65 in line. That order's not going to get filled. Gotta be cautious here. Who's the Brit talking, and can we get a girl's voice? So that is the live squawk. And you know what? I think you might have a good idea going on there.
Says on the EU-US trade talks, the goal is to bring down trade barriers and build new transatlantic ties.
I don't know how they get their wire information. Do you pay a monthly fee to have a connection to these news services, and then they just read what comes on the screen or what? But I kind of agree. If I could get a female British voice, I would totally do that. Because I kind of find, I don't know, maybe it's just me and my experience here, but I kind of find him annoying because he's always saying something when I want to talk, and then I have to be like, okay, wait, we can't talk because the live squawk is telling us something that might be important. So we have to pause. And he's annoying to me. Okay. So if I can pull this off, I do not like the way that I just got filled there. Yep. That did not work. This trend looks a little stronger than I thought. Because it should not be able to tick up that easily at 14. That's where like they stopped last time, right? Granted, nobody's bought 14.5 yet, but I think it's only at least one person is going to do it. Where's Zerv? Zerv loves to buy those. There you go, 24. The E-mini moved down there, by the way. I think maybe part what cost. Oh, okay. So now they traded down into 13.5. There's a good stack. 4,000 orders sold there all at once, but they haven't cleared it yet. I think they're going to clear it. There's almost 5K sitting at 13.5. That's really interesting. I don't know if the E-mini is going to sell some more. It looks like that the E-mini is at what has been a support area. Maybe I just want his job if it pays well. Read some lines, go back to sleep, read some more. Yeah. Well, there's like two guys and they take shifts too. So there's at least one of them that is literally up all night doing that. Probably not the most interesting job in the world, huh? That's a lot traded there at 13.5. But you know, I think it would be pleasing to have a female voice with a really nice British accent, or maybe an Australian accent. You know, something posh sounding, not too posh sounding. You don't want them to be like sound so rich that they're annoying. But you know who I really like to. I mean, I've talked about this many times, but Mr. Brannigan from Axia Futures. I love listening to that guy talk. I just feel like he has such a pleasing way of talking, and he sounds rich to me. I'm not an expert in British accents, but he sounds like he was probably raised in wealth. You know, he's kind of got that kind of an accent. But I just the way the intonation and the kind of the words that he emphasizes and things like that, I just find really pleasing for some reason. I love whenever there's an Axia video and he's in it, I always try and watch it. And he has so many good ideas and like ways of presenting the market to people. I think he's really good at teaching. Okay, so I'm happy that 13.5 appears to be balanced. I'm happy that my my entry and risk appear to be correct for this trade. It is being a little jumpy around here. They jumped up 2 ticks there when they went up to 14. That's not necessarily good. That's like market makers are fucking around with us and they could do whatever they want to us. I don't like that. It makes me feel like that there aren't really that many participants and one guy can just decide, okay, I'm going to push it up so that everybody gets stopped out and take money from them because I'm bored. And then there I am, short, and, get stopped out or whatever it is. We're not really seeing a whole lot of selling at 13 too, which, Probably we need to see a little bit more stacking at 13.5 in order to see that happen. Maybe a little bit more selling in the 5-year, perhaps. The 5-year came down, I don't know. It looks a little more clean in the 5-year, but that's not actually quite accurate, is it? And the 30-year did not come down yet. I think the 30-year, you're going to need to see 30 get weak, because the 30-year has not come down as much. It's still almost at the top. Okay. $13 really pulled, but still not a ton of orders going into it. Yeah, you've seen this here in the okay. There, 31 is stacking up to 300 and pulling. You may see another tick up in ZB actually. And level 2 is all over the place. All three of these instruments are flipping back and forth on the level 2. I'm gonna have to say this is not the best action for trending trading, is it? But considering where we are, that's kind of part of why I'm a little bit skeptical that we're just gonna have like a trend up. That doesn't seem to be in line where things are. $30 is still being a pill. See, ZB ticked up. Actually, all three of them look like they could maybe tick up. In other words, we're not really seeing downward momentum yet. The momentum in the level 2 still appears to be up. $13.5 is weak. There are more people buying than selling at this particular spot. Unless you see a flip here in ZB. And they're awfully close. 20 contracts. 25 contracts to add on to 31, and then it would flip, right? The E-mini, it looks like it's going to break an overnight high. There we go.
Just a heads up, just under 10 minutes time we will hear from Fed Central slightly hawkish permanent voting member Williams speaking on the US economic outlook and monetary policy. Text will be released and there will be a Q&A session as well with the audience. Picking up a couple of his recent comments on December the 21st, he said his eyes were wide open and willing to reassess the rate outlook if the economy's performance deteriorates. He insisted the Fed is listening to messages sent by investors in financial markets.
I think you might, there's the spot that the E-mini is in today is kind of... I'm going to pay attention. I think I'm seeing that 69 up there. Granted, that's really far away in E-minis, but I think there is a decent chance that just because of how critical that 69 or so. Is it 2689? Sorry. 2700 area. Just it's so significant, that was where the selling really came. When back in December, I think it's a really critical level, and it would not surprise me if the E-mini just decided to go for it today. Okay. So they did not want to do that. You look at the liquidity in the 5-year. There was actually some reasonably big bids below us. They plowed through them. You're getting a target at 0.62 a little bit. The only big order below us in ZN is 10.5. There's not many targets on the DOM today. Okay. Saw the iceberg there, so they're trying to stop it one tick above. You're going to absorb there because if you're trying to prevent it from touching 11, you're going to have to absorb a couple of contracts at 12, otherwise you're going to be able to do it. But it looks like, to me, they may be trying to hold that. 1, 2, 3. How did that only end up being? Oh, because one of them was at 13 and one of them was at 13.5, I think. I don't think I got 14. Would have been nice. Would have been nice, though. I'm happy with that trade, though. I don't think that was an easy trade. And I guess when I was laughing about feeling super focused, and then I think that was good. I was super focused. I saw the opportunity to go short. I took it. It was definitely making me nervous because they were really making it look like they wanted to push up, but I read it correctly. They were trying to scare people. And they flipped it around, and it's just kind of the E-mini is just chugging along.
Bank of Italy cuts Italy's 2019 GDP growth forecast to spot 6% versus 1% forecast made in December, says the economy probably contracted in the fourth quarter of 18 for the second straight quarter, also saying the gross NPL ratio for Italian banks under ECB supervision fell to 9.4% in Q3 18 from 9.7% in Q2.
Well,
Bank of Italy saying less investment and trade issues will curb growth, saying financial markets conditions remain tenser. Williams here saying the Fed needs prudence, patience and good judgment, sees US GDP growth about 2 to 2.5% in 2019 versus 3% in 2018, saying the motto of data dependence.
I think I need to trim things because for some reason my nose and everything really itches today.
More from Fed's Williams doesn't see worrying signs of inflation pressure, saying the labour market is strong, consistent with maximum employment, saying I'll adjust policy if conditions are less robust, says well we will reassess balance sheet policy if conditions also change, also saying tailwinds have lost gust, rates are closer to normal, saying the shutdown and geopolitical uncertainty are the emerging headwinds, also saying high growth would warrant somewhat higher rates, also cites Europe-Asia lead to less optimism about world growth, saying the motto of data dependence more relevant than ever.
Hmm. Is he going to say more stuff? That was that Quarles.
Let's recap a couple of those key comments. And Williams saying high growth
Oh,
will warrant
Williams. It's
somewhat
Williams.
higher rates. Saying preparing to adjust views depending on the data. Doesn't see worrying signs of inflation pressure. And saying I'll adjust policy if conditions are less robust. And on the balance sheet saying we will reassess the balance sheet policy if conditions do change.
Well, I like my exit at 12. I'm a little disappointed that that only ended up being 3 ticks, but I'm looking at it now and I'm seeing I sold 13 and 13 half, so that is correct that it was 3. Okay. Good tick down there. Well, now there is a reasonable chance that that we see 10. It's a little iffy though, and especially this time of day. This 7 to 7:30 time period can be the worst. Because, well, if there's a trend going, it's awesome. Because what's happening is you got all of the mini traders are coming in and they're starting to look at things and they're starting to position themselves for the open and everything. And so if they were planning on buying the E-mini up really strong, then you could see right now a lot of selling in treasuries, and we've seen that several times this week. But
Fez Williams says labour market is strong no matter how you cut it.
you can also, if it's just range bound, then you just get a ton and ton of noise, and it's hard to even know where you're going to get filled and even just get one tick. So I try to avoid this time period.
Williams, the challenge in recent years has been inflation. That's too low, not too high.
Especially since we're right at the VWAP and the overall daily action is extremely unclear. Where's the bull bear zone in CB? 29. Oh, the wife is awake. The zoo is up. Is Williams going to say any more stuff? Because I don't want to get cut off. I don't want to get started on some long tangent and then him come in and say a bunch of stuff. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Got a decent.
Says hearing anxiety in the markets about what's coming in 2019.
Noticing we're getting to over 16 viewers much earlier in the day. Oh, those birds are happy. Good morning, they're saying. Okay, so wanted to talk about, since this is a good time to do this, assuming that there isn't more stuff from this Williams, so I'm positive he says that. But there was a story out late last night, and I didn't see it until I was ready to go to bed. So it didn't come out until 9 o'clock last night, I think. And it was from BuzzFeed News, and the claim was that Cohen is going to say that Donald Trump instructed him to lie to Congress. There were actually...
Just under 10 minutes, time we'll get the release of some US data. Industrial production month-on-month for December, looking for a reading of spot 2% against a prior read of spot 6%, with the range between minus spot 5 and spot 6%. Capacity utilization seasonally adjusted for December, look for a reading of 78.5%, unchanged on the prior, with a range between 76.7 and 79%. And lastly, manufacturing output month-on-month for December, look for a reading of spot 3% against a flat read, with the range between a flat read and spot 9%.
Anyways, so they were asking the Attorney General about this earlier. They said if the president instructed somebody to lie about something, would that be obstruction of justice? and the Department of Justice head, or I forget what we call it now, the Attorney General. The Attorney General nominee said, yeah, under that statute it would be. And some people are speculating that Democrats knew this and they were asking him specifically because of that. However, I don't think that this story adds up, and I think that it's going to be another case where maybe people will end up being disappointed. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of people sticking their necks out on this thing yet, at least not on Reddit. It's just completely the politics circle jerk and nobody's saying anything. But the big thing that you're not seeing in the stories is, what did he lie about? Well, we know what he lied about, supposedly. And it was that he got the dates of when they were talking about the Trump Tower thing, right? So he said, we were talking about it in like May, and he was mistaken, and there was actually some discussions like as late as September or something like that, right? Something that I think you could very easily dismiss as, he just recalled wrong, or he made a mistake, or maybe he just didn't think about those and didn't, it was very easy to get messed up on recalling something like that. And I'm not too sure if it's even a critical detail or not. And so for them to come out and now say, he told me to lie about this seemingly inconsequential piece seems a little bit odd to me, right? And the second point that I want to bring up is that when you look at the story, one of the things that they talk about is that it sounds like Mueller has some corroboration.
Again, it's the Democrats keeping everything closed.
Let's see if Donald Trump tweets about this. I think he's probably going to, although they may have to craft a statement first, so we'll see. So the next thing is that they were saying that they had corroboration from interviewing people in the Trump organization that Donald Trump did this. Okay, so that to me is like super bizarre, right? You get this, like, what happened? Did they have a meeting and they got together and they said, okay, guys, I'm concerned about this date thing, and so Cohen, when you testify to Congress, you've got to make sure that you lie about the dates when we were actually involved in these discussions. Like, do you actually, like, that meeting actually happen? I don't think so. That wouldn't make any sense to me. Like, that's not the way that an organization would do things, right? An organization would do something like, okay, well, Cohen has to testify here. We don't think we did anything wrong, but we're still in, there's still legal jeopardy here and we need to be careful. So what are some of the things that we need to be careful about or whatever? And one of the things might be, okay, the Trump Russia Tower thing, that's probably not something that we want them to focus too much on, because we don't want, a huge long thing with Congress investigating it forever and all that. Even though maybe we thought that we didn't do anything wrong. All right. So then you would strategize and say, okay, so when we testify in Congress, that's something that we want to avoid talking about, right? So if you said that, is that illegal? I don't think that's illegal to strategize about which things you would want de-emphasized or what your vulnerabilities are or whatever, right? It only becomes obstruction of justice when you're specifically saying we need to lie about this one specific fact. And so that's what I think is going to happen. That's going to be the defense, is Donald Trump is going to come out and say that the story is just completely false. He's going to say, I never instructed Cohen to lie about anything. And the thing that he lied about was inconsequential. And so all of this talk about impeachment, I think they're going off of very, very little information. And honestly, if Donald Trump got impeached because Michael Cohen got a date wrong, Unless it ends up being something that we don't know about that makes that date super significant. If that's what he got impeached over, I'd have to say that's pretty stupid. After all of this, if that's what takes him down. So I believe this story is not what people are purporting it to be because of that. So that's my opinion. But you know what? We've had a lot of stories like this come out. And if you take that position,
so just under 3 minutes,
you'd be right almost every time that this has happened, right? So
look for reading of spot 2%, capacity utilization, look for reading of 78.5%, and manufacturing output month to month, look for reading of spot 3%.
Why would Nancy Pelosi leave the country with other Democrats on a 7-day excursion when 800,000 people are not getting paid? Also, could someone please explain to Nancy and her big donors in wine country that people working on farms will have easy access in? I don't know what that last part means. That was a Trump tweet. Border rancher, we found prayer rugs out here. It's unreal. Washington Examiner, people coming across the southern border from many countries, some of which would be a big surprise. Also, it's the Democrats keeping everything closed. So true. They're I don't know if you were super concerned about this BuzzFeed news story, you might not be tweeting anything right now. You'd be talking to people about how do we respond to this and everything like that. So I find that curious. We'll see if they respond to it or not. Or maybe he doesn't tweet about it, but the press secretary comes out and says something about it. I think we got to keep an eye out for them responding to that. Oh, another thing that I should point out is that Michael Cohen has not said this yet. This is just some news reporters have sources that this is what's happening. So it's not actually even a confirmed thing. You should keep that in mind too.
1 minute.
Gillette ad Fallout suggests many men harbor disdain for me too.
Shutdown is affecting lives. William, shutdown does have significant impact on first quarter growth. Ten seconds.
Okay, they did end up going past my 11.5.
Industrial spot 3%, prior revised spot 4%, capacity 78.7%, prior revised 78.6%, manufacturing 1.1%, prior revised spot 1%.
There was a little bit of a reaction there.
Numbers, US industrial production month to month in above estimates at spot 3%, with the prior revised downward to spot 4%. Capacity utilization comes in slightly ahead of estimates at 78.7%, with the prior revised slightly upward to 78.6%, and manufacturing output coming in far higher than estimates, coming in at 1.1% versus, and the prior has also been revised upward slightly to spot 1%.
So those numbers were slightly better than expected.
Uncertainty has increased.
Okay, so now we got 15 minutes to the equity open. I still don't believe that this is a great spot for me to be trading, although we have had a very good trend down. But here again at 10.
December mining output was up 1.5%. November was up 1.1%. Utilities output down 6.3%, with November's read up 1.3%.
You're kind of here in the middle of the range, and so because we're at the bottom of the range, you probably would want to buy here, or at least the risk reward kind of favors buying here. But we've had a reasonable amount of trend down.
Williams says government shutdown could affect consumer spending, take 0.5% or about 1% of GDP growth.
That kind of scared me. Did that kind of startle you? That guy coughing? Anyways, but the trend right now very much looks down. And so this becomes a tough thing. I think that I probably don't want to buy it. I need to see something that says you have a really high probability. And I don't see that. So I'm going to sit on my hands again.
Williams saying good data is how we make our decisions, and we don't have some of that data, of course, due to the shutdown.
I see the ace went long. 26.52. It does look like the way that they're ticking right now, there's a pretty good chance that they make a new high here. How far it goes, I don't know. It looks like there's a relatively large order at 26.55. Found the long button. Yeah, is that the first time we've seen him go long? I don't think it's the first time we've seen him go long, but it's the first time in a while. And it's maybe it's only the second time that I've seen him go long. Okay, so they did make a new high. They're still pushing too. I think that they're going to make it to that 55. Yeah, that was a pretty good trade. And he only goes for like 1 or 2. So he may have actually already scaled out. That's my 2 points. Yep. Wow. Good job. Yep. And they totally cleared him at 26.54. So what that is legit, dude. Well done. You know, maybe that's my problem in the E-mini is I'm always going for like 16 ticks or whatever. If you just look there and you say, oh, okay, there's the momentum here and it's going to move up and you just take 2 points. I kind of like your way of doing it. Seems super consistent.
Aiming to sell its oil production assets in 2019 and 2020.
Like it's like
US traders just joining us. Of course, we saw yesterday the Wall Street Journal piece that the US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin debated with the trade advisors on lifting China tariffs. One to watch going into this open. Trump Mnuchin do speak at a meeting in a closed door press at 22:15 GMT. So it's aftermarket, but it's just one to bear in mind.
You can feed a family 2 points a day.
Boosted consumer spending, but have to wait to see if it helps business investment.
Well, maybe, I mean, the other thing that I like about Ace's trade is the time frame that he does it, because he almost always gets it between 7 and 7:30 our time. And this is a time period that I've found is really tricky and not always a good trade in treasuries. And I'm always like, well, maybe I should trade the E-mini when I get bored. And
the way you would expect it to.
Maybe I have made some good calls in the E-mini before. Maybe I just need to readjust the kind of move that I'm looking for. So I think maybe next week I might try that. Or at least I will start looking for it. I have to say the one thing though is that it's always like Ace will be like, okay, I'm taking a trade. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. And then like 30 seconds later, I'll see it and I'll be like, oh, wait, he's going to get it.
Williams saying we're just not going to get 3% growth each year as that fiscal stimulus does wane.
And so I'm find it really interesting that he's able to be so early to it. Especially since whenever we ask him about it, it's like, oh, just kind of seemed like it was gonna go. Well, the 5-year did make a new low. We should keep track of that. It seems like the 30-year, we're getting this steepening again, right? It's steepened. They sold the 5-year. They didn't sell the 30-year nearly as much. And there you can see even the 30-year taking the lead and ticking up. 30-year might even get above the VWAP. Yeah, I have a buddy over at the CME. You're right. Yeah, probably not. I tell you though, there's always fishy things going on. Not all of those fishy things are even necessarily illegal, right? So on the day, back in the day when it was floor traders, and you could see who was making your orders. So like if you worked for Goldman Sachs, and you were like the head Goldman Sachs trader, and you came in and you started selling something, you just walk over to the pit, and people would start making bets and stirring things around just because they know that the Goldman Sachs guy is coming over, right? And if he really wanted to build a position, that would make it very difficult, because as soon as he starts buying things, everybody would be like, oh, he's buying, we better buy it too, and they would bid it up for him. And the big traders always hated the locals because of it, and they would complain that the locals were hurting their profitability because they would front run them. So one of the things that you would do back then is you would go and find a couple of locals, and you would pay them a little commission and say, okay, I just need you to buy so and so many contracts for me. And that way, everybody would think that, oh, this is just a regular trader that doesn't matter, when really he was trading for somebody else. And you would do that, right? And so there was always kind of like, you always had to be a little suspicious about what people were doing, because you could see some guy, hey, it seems like this guy that normally trades pretty small is actually selling a lot of contracts today. Maybe something's going on. The big boys would even fake going to lunch and then sneak back in and put trades on. That's hilarious. I could totally see that. That's a brilliant idea. Oh man. Yeah, you know what they should do is they should make a so what is this application called? Oh man, my nose itches so much today. I don't know what the problem is. Just like the tip of my nose. Like I think it's called VR chat. And you put the Oculus Rift on, and you can be the deformed Knuckles character, and everybody runs around saying, do you know the way? This sort of a thing. My understanding is that the game is not super moddable yet in terms of like being able to make like your own game in it. But I think that it would be fun to go into that game and make an exchange. Like a floor trade. And you could have the best of both worlds, because you could see all of the people there in the pit, but it would all be electronic. So you could say, okay, I want to buy all of these guys, or whatever it is. There's a few documentaries on YouTube about it. Yeah, I've watched a number of documentaries, but I don't remember that one. So I have to go and do some more searching, because I really like that kind of stuff. Anyways, it would be, and it would be hilarious too, like a bunch of deformed Knuckles characters in suits, putting up bids and offers and stuff. It would be great fun. You just got to find a commodity out there, and then maybe some cryptocurrency, maybe some cryptocurrency to base the exchange on trading and you know, it'd be fun. Make it, make it something super super cheap so that people can get in and play for almost nothing. Could be great. Well, the E-mini went a little bit past, but they never touched the big order that was kind of like the resistance at 26.55. Yeah. I'm gonna blow my nose here. I don't think you guys want to see this. There we go. Still, I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so a little bit of size is now showing up in the 5-year. Oh, this one at 04 has been there for a really long time. And there's another one really close to it at 035. We should watch this. So there's a chance that we get more. Okay, so here's the E-mini is about to open and we're starting to get a lot of... Wow. Did anybody have a problem on YouTube? That is extremely unusual buying in the E-mini right there. What? Was there some earnings that just came out?
Saying the economy is about as good as it gets from the Fed's perspective.
Okay. It could be that too. Tesla cut 7% of its workforce. Netflix is rallying. I don't know, guys. I don't think I want to sell 10, so we might see it go though. Well, look at ZF. There's nothing there at 05. Okay. It's about to tick up again. Wonder how much will be on the bid if they tick up. Okay, the E-minis. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's the open. Okay, 32 on the bid. In ZF. They're on the uptick. 10-year ticked up too. Oh, they're pulling. Let's see. You could potentially sell it at 11. That would be where I would start to feel a little bit more comfortable on in terms of risk reward and everything. Is at 11. Okay. So a lot of that buying now is
Williams here saying the slowing growth in China is a concern.
Still talking. Okay. So now
In
they're
here from
eating
the
into
SCMP
11.
saying PBOC's Yi names Fed policy and Brexit as top risk to China's growth.
I also want to watch that 12.5 because not only is 12.5 the VWAP, but it was also the open price. Yeah, given the 11 is a point of control, it's not necessarily going to be unusual to see a lot of contracts trade here at 11. The big question, though, is does the E-mini push below 2652, where Ace was long? Then you've kind of got a little bit of an imbalance that could lead to much more down action. Yeah, there it goes. Really strong buying in ES though. The open. Don't know. This whole thing is very curious. You're also seeing a reasonably decent amount of contracts in the way at 11.5. In these other prices, I mean 11.5 is probably going to be 3,000 if it clears. So far, the tendency today has been that when there's an iceberg, they still go through it.
Remarks.
Okay. Well, the E-mini found some support there. Okay. So that was a pretty aggressive sell there at 11. And it fell back into it. The E-mini had a little bit of an up impulse when they did it. So they may be thinking that they're going to turn here. A little bit too much being absorbed on the bid there for my likes. Yeah. As soon as they were able to take it down, they bid it back up. So he's willing to buy more. Hmm. They're actually holding it really well. Yeah, I think you might see another wave of buying come through. I think that the treasuries are reasonably well situated to have a flush to new lows. If the E-mini decides that another buying rush is going to come in, which I mean, they're kind of threatening it. They're not quite going for it, but I think that you could see a big spike come in. So they are already pretty close to the same cumulative delta that they were before at the top. They're only at like 1,000 or so off from it, and not a new high. That could continue through, but okay. 11.5 had a good stack on it. I think you got to be suspicious about that one right there. Especially since the E-mini might be, I don't know. It could go either way, but I don't think that particular tick right there is like, might not be what it purports to be. I'm suspicious of it. It's a little bit too much to be stacking there at that spot. They're selling it. Okay. See, it went and ticked back down. And now they're buying it again. So they're doing some head fakes here. Gonna do it. I think you could, this might be a spot where you could see a block sell come in, actually. Might see Tyler. We haven't seen any of them today. Haven't seen very many large orders at all, in fact. Hmm. So there was a sweep up there in the E-mini. Pretty strong sweep, but then the big iceberg at 26.51.75. Oof. Hmm. I would have much preferred that I had not gotten in at 11 and had been sitting here to see if I get in at 11.5. That was a little bit lower, but yeah, I think that I need to ditch this, actually. We are building a little bit of bids below us now. All these are 5s. That 12 is actually getting a little bit stronger too. And there's some buying there and they're not making any progress. Okay. Interesting. So here's a support, or here's another support zone at 2650 in the E-mini. And they've actually held the delta. That's interesting. Post that in equity. Would prefer that we not hold a strong bid at 12. Seems to me good corporate results should help sustain this trend. So alligator sounds bullish. They're still selling and they're still willing to sell into the 12, but it just doesn't, they're never able to stack enough on the offer to keep it down, and it keeps putting up 2,000. Now it's flipping, in fact. That'll suck. Okay. I should have kept in mind that 12.5. Should have known that there was a good chance that they were going to go to 12.5. I shouldn't have been selling it at where was I? 11. Yeah, I sold at 11. That was dumb. That was dumb. Oh well. I see support. Just saying. Okay. That should not be going off so easily. And I think that the E-mini has found some support. And that given that the cumulative delta has been flat through all that selling, this is very similar to what happened yesterday. Except for that there's not some scary chart pattern associated with it. I guess there's a little bit of a peak there, but look at the cumulative delta, the zigzag. That's just, they bought and then it distributed. I think you could see another big strong buying wave. especially if this 11.5 goes offer. Because remember, that was where we saw an uptick, and it was pretty strong. If that pulls away without a lot trading through it, like I get filled there, that's, I think, we could have a real rip. That would be the move I was looking for originally. Well, 12 looks balanced. Okay. E-mini is getting strong. Okay, so 1187 to trade through it. 1187 to trade through it. Yeah, I think this is going to go for a new low. Not filled at 11.5. Even if I had my stop volume at like 1400 instead of 400, still would not have gotten filled, would it? Okay. The way that the E-mini is now coming back up, they're making new highs in cumulative delta, and they're still not quite over that peak. I don't know. That looks like a big mountain decline, but that's a pretty big divergence. Some of the movement in the treasuries today looks extremely...
10 minutes now until the top of the hour. We get the release of the University of Michigan survey. These are prelim readings for January. Sentiment looking for an estimate of 97 against a prior 98.3. The range 92 to 99. Conditions looking for an estimate of 114.5 against a prior 116.1. The range 113 to 116. Expectations looking for an estimate of 86 against a prior 87. The range 85 to 89. 1 year inflation looking for, well, no estimates but a prior of 2.7, and 5 year and no estimates but a prior of 2.5.
Well, this 2652 ends up being a pretty key number again. So that's interesting. How did you know, Ace? You've done this 2 days in a row now. Picks a price and it ends up being a big deal later. Must be everybody watching the stream and they're like, well, because they were interested in 2652, we're going to have to trade in back and forth across that a couple of times, just for fun. Aha. So that 11 half price is kind of flaky, isn't it? Okay. Well, they come back up to this 12 half really easily, didn't they? See, that 11 half is just like the most flaky price ever. Hmm. So the E-mini still looks like they have some good support below them, but that time there was a little bit of selling. That time at least there was a little bit of selling. I would have liked to have gotten filled at 11 so that I could try and take another contract short at 12, but kind of wiggle my risk around a little bit. They tick up there, yeah. So here they are, support in the E-mini. Oh man. I don't like the way that they're eyeing this 12 half.
Just having a quick look at the options board there from our colleagues at Forex Flow. Just seeing at 114 on Euro US dollar, 114 to 114.10. We've got free spot 53 billion expiring at the top of the hour. Also on 110 on US dollar Japanese yen, we've got 4.01 billion.
Hmm. I have to say, I haven't had too much luck on the fills today, have I?
Just under 3 minutes now until the top of the hour, and the University of Michigan survey. Prelim readings for January. Sentiment looking for an estimate of 97. Conditions looking for an estimate of 114.5. Expectations looking for an estimate of 86. 1-year inflation a prior of 2.7, and 5-year inflation a prior of 2.5.
This, I feel like now probabilities are starting to be weird. Okay, there was this another buy sweep. So the E-mini is starting to get slow. I'm wondering if they're just waiting on the
1 minute.
Michigan number. What was it for inflation expectations again? Prior of 2.7. And the estimate for consumer sentiment is 97. Okay. They are pulling.
Ten seconds. Sentiment coming in at 90.7.
Okay,
Current conditions
not
coming
as
in at
good as
110.
it was
Expectations coming in
expected.
at 78.3. 1-year inflation coming in at 2.7, and 5 to 10-year inflation coming in at 2.6.
Oh, the E-mini is actually handling that really well.
Just to repeat, the University of Michigan sentiment coming in at 90.7. That's against a prior 98.3.
Okay. So I thought there might be an iceberg at 12.5. They're still buying in the E-mini. That's not good. Okay. I don't know if it's in my head or what, but I feel like ever since I started doing the 2 contracts that I'm just not doing quite so. There's another buy. There is another fucking buy sweep. You know what? They might not. So we're like 1 tick below the last swing. Okay. Whoa. Well, that was lucky. I almost didn't act on that one. Huh. 2,000.
Seeing by the Borgie here, so an Italy downward forecast show need for expansive budget.
Hmm. That 13 is stacking up really high.
So that comment there from Borgie is League's Borgie head of lower house budget saying Italy downward forecast show need for expansive budget.
That's a lot at 13 to show up there. And they're doing it in the 5-year as well. The E-mini is looking positive. I think that they may push out and make a new high here and create some another buy momentum. That 13 pulled more that time on the downtick. Here's where we find out that was the sell. Liquidity looks a little weird in the E-mini, but there's like lots of big orders down here. Is it the case that there's too many robots and traders short now in the ES? No. Okay, so there was a machine gun at 13.5. I'm getting very wild trade at 13.5. Okay. 13 pulled. That's really good. They didn't take it, but that was really good that pulled. That says to me that 5K or whatever it was that they had there at one point was fake. So you're getting a potential for a flipper here. It's not like an all at once flipper, but you may get a flipper here. Okay, 2650, there's a big offer showing up there. That's not a good sign, I don't think. So I think they'll buy up through it. Yeah. But then can they hold it? Look at that. 1300, 1200. There was 5,000 there at 13. Be careful, it could still iceberg. Now a lot going back and forth here at 2650. And they bought through it. Now they're holding it. A good bit at 2650, and it ticked down. 753 to clear. Yep, I like my short. I like my short. See, we actually made a little bubble there, and we're higher. Now we got to see if they actually think that they need to pressure the sellers a little bit more and get the stops. I don't know. They bought through it and they came up and they held it, but now you want to see another buying impulse come in. Want to see people puking. Want to see shorts puke. Ooh. Yeah. You're getting a pretty good downtick here now at 13, even though it is ticking back and forth. Look, you're getting a lot of volume, actually. Okay. E-mini is just like slowly pushing through it. You're squeezing. You get this big order at 26.53. Like once they get over that, that would be, I think, maybe where we start to see some stops. So watch this 12. Let's see if the 12 pulls too. Pull back. Note that when they're buying here, it's very slow. It's like they tick through and they just happen to hold a price, you know? Now that we're at 8.14, we're getting into like the what do you call it? Reversal time period? Except for that, since there's not any super clear trend, what would be the reversal? What direction would the reversal be? They're buying it again.
EU sources saying EU's TUSS discuss with British PM May on Friday next steps on UK side on Brexit.
Okay, they made a little bit of progress there. You are starting to see now with that uptick, you're starting to see a little bit of an uptrend in the E-mini. A little bit of a short squeeze, I think. I'm kind of how I feel right now is that there was a lot of fighting, especially in the E-minis there at the top, and now a pretty okay buying trend in the E-mini is showing up. And so I believe that the buyers on the E-mini side won that battle. But not quite the war yet, because you still haven't seen the sellers like puke. See, they're still kind of just slowly pushing it up because they're not getting the big old like stop orders that they want. Bitcoin going to dump? I don't know. It does tend to do some interesting things on Friday afternoon, but last week I kind of thought, they might sell it. And they bought it. And that was when you got that big jump up and then it came back down. Was that last week or was that the week before? Anyways. So it's very difficult to predict what they're going to do on the Friday in Bitcoin, I've found. Because it's like one guy, He can do whatever he wants. I do think eventually Bitcoin is probably going to get to 2,000. But I think it's going to take a very long time for that to happen. Okay, so there was a sweep. Another buy sweep. So now they're getting a little bit of pushback in the E-mini. Now you're getting the shorts are saying, no, okay, we don't want that anymore. Yeah, I guess the other thing that I should point out in the E-mini...
China's offers said to be made at Beijing talks in early Jan. US trade negotiators said to be skeptical of China's offer. China is said to offer a 6-year import boost of over $1 trillion, and US officials said to want faster reduction in China trade gap. China is said to offer path to eliminate US trade imbalances.
Gosh!
Just to recap,
look at that order down at 05. Holy
January.
fuck!
US trade negotiators are said to be skeptical of China's offer, and the US officials said to want faster reduction in China trade gap. So China is said to offer a 6-year import boost of over $1 trillion.
Wow. Import boost of $1 trillion? They didn't even... Okay. You know what they say, better to be lucky than good? I think that I would rather be both. Yes. Because we do have to say, I caught a good read and risk position at 13.5. But I was looking at maybe they get back to 11.5 or, one of those areas, and then I might have to think about taking it off. And then that news comes along. Holy shit. Holy shit. The thing is, what you can see with the number of contracts and everything like that in ZN that we just got there. Wow, my ninja's not even able to calculate it. There was that happened because there was people on both sides there taking pretty big positions. Okay, so this is really hard now for me because I don't know if it's going to continue through or not, and I'm not seeing anything other than that it stopped there at 0.85 to tell me if a lot of this is going to come back or not. You are seeing that the E-mini is maintaining its cumulative delta. I wonder if that, the news that we saw yesterday, what that looked like for comparison. And well, the E-mini is kind of just kind of going back and forth here. Man. $1 trillion the Chinese are offering. I mean, I think I'd need to go back and look at some numbers and stuff, but I think... Interesting. No? Okay. But I think that is better than anyone was hoping for out of the trade deal. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of funny because with the Chinese, they can do that. They can say, okay, we'll buy $1 trillion more of your stuff. You can't do that in the United States, you know. Like the government's got control of everything over there in China. Okay, that 095 pulling is, I think, a good sign. And what I'm seeing here in the 5-year, oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. There was some really big orders below us in the 5-year, and they are not there anymore. Normally in a trend, I would look at orders like that as targets. Either somebody that's hoping that they're going to get filled down there, or somebody that has a position on and thinks that that's where it's going to go when they want to get out. And they no longer want to buy there. Okay, well, you had a little bit of a strong sell there for a second, but now they're back above 10. I'm kind of just eyeing the E-mini here, and it just, they aren't selling it. It's either, I'm seeing mostly either equalizing or little pushes up. So they may try and push again. And remember, I was saying we're at an interesting spot. And I think that they might want to try and eye like 2,700. That's awfully far away for today, though. That's awfully far away for today, though. See, there's a lot of volume there at 10. There are definitely people taking profits there. But it doesn't look forceful. You know what I mean? We'll see. There's a tick up there. Yeah. Okay, so that right there, I think, is enough to be... I think I should at least take off one. We'll take off both, I think. Should keep also, where was it from before? 095, 9, 10, 10 half. Okay. Sure. Yeah, and the E-mini's coming back quite a bit now. Interesting. I might. This one at 10.5 might not get filled. They're coming back to that price. Yeah. Yoda went long at 23 there, actually. Hmm. Don't want that. Okay. Guess not. Shit. All right. Come on. Let me out. That was a big mistake. Fuck. Can you believe that I just did that, guys? I don't know. I think I should have just held that one. Cause I was kind of eyeing it like the buy price is gonna come in. And I think they're gonna make a new high here. I just kind of fooled myself out of a lot there. Hmm. Yeah. That 10 should not be falling. They're above where they came back, though. You see that? Here's a spike down. Well, there was a spike, and then they kind of leveled out, and then they dropped back to the open price. And now they're above where they had kind of leveled out. And yet, here we are. The treasuries are kind of buying up a little bit. But that it came back to that news price and bounced off of it is like super positive. Okay. So a good little step up there in the E-mini. But they didn't hold it. People are willing to buy it at 0.95. Yeah, not going off her there. The E-mini is not actually moving out, right? Oof. Super iffy here. That's going back and forth quite a bit, isn't it? Not that much bought into 10, but still. Okay, that move is interesting. And then a buy sweep. And they're still skeptical? Or just taking profits? Well, now I think there's a good chance of that high. I think they're, well, actually further away than I thought. I just barely can't see it. Right, that 095 is not going offer. So what would it take? So I was putting targets at 05, right? 05 has been there for a long time. Okay, well now treasuries are looking a little bit more selly. That's so fucking weird. A little bit more negative. I don't want to say negative because then it's like it's not good for my trade, but it is good for my trade. But it's not like going like it's offered at 0.95, but the level 2 hasn't flipped. I also haven't seen many changes in the level 2 around here. Okay, that there it flipped for a moment at least. The E-mini is not sure if it's going to and now it's kind of back towards the bottom of that range. And that builds up really, really easy. And I'm not filled at 0.9. I think that if they come down and they actually ever do take 0.9, it's probably not going to be that many contracts there. This looks to me like a flaky price. Hmm. Okay, that was a good stack on the downtick. I think that you're going to see more people selling into 0.9. Yep. And just like I said. Well, I guess not quite just like I said. There was 2,000 traded there. Treasuries moving down like this, I think, increases the probability that the E-mini goes and makes a new high. Glad that I worked that out. Okay, a little bit is showing up at 0.35 now. In the 5-year. Hmm. Oh wait, 5 kind of holding now. Ooh. Yeah, that was some strong buying right there. Now they're really going to go for it. We'll see if they go down to my target or not, though. Was that a new high? I think it was. I think that was a new high. I have to say that looked like a lot of stops there. I'm actually a little bit surprised that it's trading the way that it is there. I'm a little surprised that there's that much selling at 08. And getting here again, I'm having a hard time knowing if I should get out or not. I think I'm going to, though. Sure. Made some big mistakes there today. There's too many bubbles there on the ES. Yeah, I don't know. That was one of the crazier moves I've seen. That was one of the better trades that I got, but I don't really feel like I managed that very well. There you go. See, now that I got out, they're just going to keep going. Good grief. How much did I take on that, though? I got a pretty good winner off of that still. I got almost 4 ticks on that. I got 3.5 ticks on that. So it was at 0.95, so I took it 1, 2, 3, 4. I did take it off there at 0.75, I guess. I guess it hasn't actually gone that far from where I got out at. But there's still pressure, right? That 0.5 looks like really likely all of a sudden. Like, I wish I was still in. But you know what? Like, given the time frame and everything, so I have to go in 15 minutes for sure. And they might pull back again a little bit, and so they might not do it before I get there. So I think it's best for me to stop for today, especially since I have been making some big mistakes. I don't know. 125 at the end of the day is good. With the sell at 13.5, I had just held that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times 2. 24 ticks. Would have been over $250. Would have been 300. So yeah, I fucked up. No question about it. Because I took this here with 13.5, and then I didn't end up selling it until much lower. Yeah, I goofed. It's okay. I mean, it's still profitable, but those are the things that I'm working on, you know? And those kind of edge things, so it's a little disappointing in that respect. Bum 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 bum. Okay, so I'm going to post the notes. I'm going to keep this running here for a little bit. So if you guys have any comments about how stupid I am or questions, you put them in now and I'll answer them before I leave.
Just with under 8 minutes until the top of the hour, we are expecting to hear from Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker. We are expecting a text to be released. There is no audience questions and no media Q&A. Just a reminder that Harker is not a 2019 voter.
Okay, well, it does look like they're going to keep going. Eat Sleep Ski asks, what search do you use for Audible News? So it's Live Squawk, and we have a secret link that you don't tell anybody, okay? Because it's a secret. But the secret link is that right there. And thank you for the encouragement, TKO. I feel like I made a lot of mistakes. It was like I was saying, like well, let's review it here a little bit. So I got short up here at 035, which was fucking amazing. And then it came down here to 08 and came back up, and I think it was around 10 and a half that I decided to get out. So I really screwed that exit up. I should have gotten out earlier. And then if you watch where the E-mini was, so let's bring the E-mini back. Okay, here was the news price. So when it came back to the news price, that's where I mean, that's a trade. You take that one, guys. You see that? It comes back to the news price, and it's news that you interpret as really good, and it had a significant impact on the market. When it hit, it comes back to the news price, you buy it. You buy it. And I did, but not until it had already kind of fell a little bit. So then I took it again at 09 half. So when it came back here, when I realized that there was a really good chance of it going through. And then I took 4 on it, right? So when it was about 075. But I said at the time, hey, you know, we might see 05 because that's just so juicy. But I didn't know how long it was going to take, and I knew that I needed to start writing my notes and everything, so I didn't take that. So when you look at the trade, right? And then there was also mistakes that I made earlier, and then I made a loser on that one too, because I was trying to get filled to 10 half like an idiot instead of just dumping it. So I lost 3 on that one because I was dumb. Yeah, anyways, you know, I made some big mistakes, but I mean, like, overall it worked and the strategy was good. It's just that those kind of little marginal things on the edge are kind of what I'm working at, and so to get it wrong so many times on the little things is disappointing. But and we do, I mean, I know Smash the Bid likes to be difficult, but he does have a point there in that I was kind of fucking lucky. Because honestly, there was a big battle going on up here. There was a way big battle going on up here, and I could see that the sellers were winning. I could see that we might come back to the VWAP. That news came out. It just happened that the news came out, and because there had been such a big battle, then people puked and you got the crazy move down. And I have to say, the amount of volume that we saw on that thing, yeah, they might not get through 05. I think they'll touch it, but they might not get through it because people are already taking profits ahead of it. People are already front running it. But like, in terms of the amount of volume that went through and everything, that was crazy. I've not seen something like that in a while. I guess the last time I saw something like that, it was because of trade war news, though. And the news sounds super positive to me, too. That China is offering a deal. They're going to give us $1 trillion, and but they're skeptical of it. So they're saying they're skeptical of it. That's like the deal is too good to be true, right? That's super. I mean, if that deal happens, look at this chart, man. Look at this E-mini, okay? Look at where we are now. And what has been since the trade war news? So we first heard about trade war news in February, and we came down. Okay. So if the trade war is not a thing, I think we can justify, at the very least, we could probably justify 28.50. Yeah. And then you add back in, okay, all of this growth is going to come back. Man, it could be really good. It could be, and the thing is, the problem is always it goes up too fast, and the Federal Reserve has to raise interest rates, and they end up raising interest rates too quickly, and we overheat and all of that sort of a thing, right? Having a big down thing like this.
Fed talk here saying US economy doing really well overall. So
okay, let's listen to his notes.
Must think creatively to address workforce gaps amid tight labour market.
He's going to say a bunch of stuff, so I probably shouldn't.
Parker there saying high-level economic data looks really good.
Anyways, so having a big dip like that just kind of means that we can keep going even longer, right? Like the longer that we don't overheat, like all part of the reason this bull market has been so good has been because every 2 years or so there's some sort of big crisis and we come down a little bit, and then it's like, oh, we handled it. It could go on like this forever. It would be great. I'd love it. Well, it couldn't go on forever because at some point the free money will come completely out. Then you might not have as big of a pad. Yeah, I really wish I'd held on, but I did what I was supposed to do, so no shame in that. And 8 ticks. Well, it's technically 4 because I was trading 2 contracts, but 125 today is good. It doesn't cover the shit that we had earlier in the week. Let's see what happens if we just go the whole week. It's probably down by 100 or 200. Yeah. Because I had this super awful day right here. Okay. But that's okay. I still haven't seen the president say anything about this quote-unquote bombshell news story. Did he tweet something? Let's hear. America first, make America great again. Past 2 minutes. Never seen the Republican Party so unified. Oh, here we go. Don't forget, Michael Cohen has already been convicted of perjury and fraud. As recently as this week, the Wall Street Journal has suggested that he may have stolen tens of thousands of dollars, lying to reduce his jail time. Watch father-in-law. But he's not actually denying the story, so that's not enough. But he did address it. But that says to me that I don't think it's significant enough to be worthy of some sort. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think that this news story is as big as people are making it out to be. I think that's one to keep an eye on, though. We might see more trade war news too, but we did get to the 05. Oh wow. Well, there's 02 now below us. I don't know how far this can go. I really, beyond the 05, like if I had kept those 2 contracts on, I would at the very least take one off of 05 and then just kind of let the other one run, maybe, if it doesn't immediately turn around here. I think there's a good chance that they go through it for 2 ticks and then flip. Oh, there is the evens. They could all get down to even. And there's 07 in ZB. You can see it there. I'm blabbing. I just really enjoyed what we just saw there. I don't want it to end. I had so much fun with you guys today. Okay. I'm done. I'll see you guys.